I'm a dude, and I'm inviting you to join me on a podcast about brews.
Does that include stouts?
Yes, of course it includes stouts. Like I was saying, join us every Saturday on the journey into...
Wait a minute. Do you guys do anything about like IPAs?
Yes,
Stuff like that?
yes, we do IPAs.
Okay.
Yes. Anyway, join us on the Journey into Comics Network for Brews with Dudes.
Whoa, hey, have you guys ever... Do you care if I bring some Zima on?
Yes, I care if you bring Zima. Zima doesn't count. Zima's... Dr. Dongo. Anyway, join us every Saturday for a podcast that delves into the craft brew world.
The following
is
a
Journey into Comics.
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 Network.
Production.
Hey, this is Josh Richmond, and you are listening to the Voice of Survival podcast, exclusively on the Journey into Comics Network.
You're listening to the Voice of Survival podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nate Phillips.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Voice of Survival podcast. It's season 2, episode 14. I am your host, Nate, and today joining me, I have a very special guest. You hear him every Monday as the new Journey into Comics co-host, as well as every Thursday on Podcastrophe. He is the man, the myth, the legend. Welcome back, Tyler McLaughlin. How's it going?
I'm back.
Dude, this is your fourth, actually. You're the most appearing person on this podcast other than me. Like, hands down, bar none.
In the words of Highlander, there can only be one.
Okay.
So, eventually, I will overtake you in glorious combat.
That's cool. I'm okay going out death by glorious combat, especially to you, bro. Like, I'm not even mad at it. Like, could be worse. You know? You
could be face down in the ocean in the Bahamas and just give up in the presence of a shark. That'd be bad.
Oh, yeah. Or you could go to the Dominican Republic.
Just in general.
Just in general, yeah. That was the end of the story. Like, there was...
Wow.
Oh, that's true.
No insult intended, Dominican Republic.
No, but Americans been getting murdered over there. I'm just saying.
I mean, it's kind of a weird tangent to get on right away, but that's kind of the thing. That's kind of the thing that we as Americans fail to realize is that like South and Central America and Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic are like not very safe places for Americans.
Oh, absolutely. You become a target, dude.
Just in general, like the majority of Africa, all those places that I just said, and the Middle East, like those are places that your safety is compromised the moment you get off the plane or the boat in those countries, and your presence or the fact that you're an American is made aware to other people. You are a target immediately, whether you want to be or not.
Well, and I think, too, it depends on your decorum, on how you're acting. Let me just say that somebody who is born and raised in Alabama and has never had any cultural appropriation going to China for the first time could be a fucking nightmare for that person because they're going to say something to offend somebody, whether they mean to or not. Because it's just how they were raised. So then you're even more a target. But somebody like us, we would go and be like, listen, I need to be fucking very well-mannered, watch my fucking P's and Q's, watch my back, don't trust any fucking thing anybody says, don't walk down no weird back alleys, don't trust that shit, and hopefully we would be safe. But that's not what we're talking about today, my dude. I brought you on because I thought of all the people who I've had be a part of the network, of all the people who I've podcasted with. Who could I tackle a tough subject with? And last week or last episode, I tackled death, and that's a big one, But what I think is even bigger than death is the great unknown. So today, Tyler and I are going to be tackling a topic that I've wanted to really have like almost a whole podcast about sometimes, but we are going to be diving deep on the great alien mysteries and what happens, in the great beyond. Like there's all these planets, there's all this shit. What's going to happen in our world? I don't know. We're going to have to figure it out. We do have a little tiny interruption, but that's okay because she's worthy of interrupting the show.
She had to tell me that she got some Cheez-Its.
That's amazing. Cheez-Its are great. They're the best thing. So what I was saying is we're going to be tackling aliens, bro. Aliens. I'm so glad you did the hands thing. Aliens.
99% of the time, I don't know what to do with my hands, but anytime I hear the phrase aliens, like I immediately... I'm locked into position. Like this is my time. I know what to do.
Yeah, man. And I think, listen, aliens are a really hot topic right now. We have this humongous movement allegedly happening September 20th, where there's 1.5 million people or something interested in going to this. They can't stop us all Area 51 like raid, like essentially do it up like World of Warcraft. Everyone's just gonna bombard in there and not
Leroy
stop.
Jenkins style.
Leroy Jenkins style, abso-fucking-lutely. And it's crazy to think that there are people who are at the Pentagon who have to actually have a serious meeting about this. They had to sit down and be like, "Hey, Commander, come here." So there's this Facebook group. What? Like, that's where they start. There's this Facebook group, and he's like, okay, your fucking point? We're the military. What? Well, they say they're going to raid Area 51. He's like, hold the fucking phone, call the chief, secretary of staff, let's get everybody in here, fucking let's go. This is actually a problem, Well,
yeah, it's a like, you and I briefly had the conversation that, like, they're not going to kill American citizens. But like the truth of the matter is any United States military base, which Area 51, they don't call it Area 51. It's officially not called Area 51. But if you trespass on a United States military base, I mean, they'll just shoot you. Like, so a personal experience, I was 13 or 14. This is the aftermath of 9/11. It's been a couple years. The terror threat is still really, really high. I'm at a military base in Germany.
Yeah, let's back up a little bit and let sure people know that they need to go back and listen to Season 1, Episode 23, where you actually give a really great backstory about your history, how you are a military kid, how you did travel around a lot. You didn't randomly just find yourself in Germany on a military base like, what the fuck? How did I port here? How did I teleport here? So anyways, go on. Sorry, I wasn't trying to interrupt.
No, you're fine. But so my dad always lived off base. Every place he was stationed, he always had a house off base. And we happened to just want to go to the commissary or something that day, maybe the PX, I can't remember. But we're in his Durango, and we pull up to go on base, and like I can't speak for or from experience for every country that we have, or every foreign nation that we have military bases in, but like in Spain and in Germany, like the checkpoints going in and out of the base were basically 50-50. So there would be Spanish or German military with our military, both manning the checkpoints, and we pull up to the checkpoint, and not every vehicle going in gets searched, but you pull up, the guard says hello. You know, it's kind of like a cop at a traffic stop. He walks up to your vehicle. I need to see your IDs. Basically, I need to see your papers, you know. So we pull our military IDs out. He looks at them, and we just happen to get picked for inspection that day. So they make you pull off to the side in the checkpoint. You have to park the vehicle in a painted line, basically rectangle. If you go any forward or if you go forward of that box, they're authorized to kill you or use lethal force to stop you. If you stop before that, same thing. So you have to really mind your P's and Q's. My dad parks in the box. You have to get out one at a time while someone is basically escorting you, and then you have to stand in your own painted rectangle. And my dad and I was actually younger than 13 or 14, so I would have been 11 or 12. So, you know, rambunctious teenager, we're standing in the rectangle, and, you know, I was looking at something like a train or, you know, main thoroughfare right outside of the base. It's just people. And, like, I'm pointing at something, and I go to step out of the rectangle, and every single person in that checkpoint stopped what they were fucking doing and had their guns pointed at me. And
Holy shit.
My dad had to, you know, basically talk everybody off of the ledge because I was about to get fucking shot.
Holy shit, bro.
The terror threat is super, super high. You know, looking back on it, it's one of the dumbest things that I've ever done in my life. But I was a kid. I didn't know that it was fucking serious.
You were just in the moment, man. You weren't thinking about how real it was or how, especially you being a kid, you're not a threat to these people with guns.
No.
So
so
then the surrealness of them all pulling their weapons, that had to have been like a oh fuck moment.
Oh yeah, I mean it was fucking. It's a testament for working military professionals because it was fucking instantaneous. There was no lag time. There was no thought process. It was this kid's gonna blow us up.
Yep, and they didn't want that to happen.
Thankfully, I didn't blow anybody up or I didn't get blown away or seriously injured. I also didn't get in any serious trouble, you know. So, or neither did my dad. So the crisis was averted. But like I actually saw a news report on CNBC and Fox News the other day. The Air Force basically doing a press conference talking about how they're handling the Area 51 raid, as it's being called, and you know, as much as I legitimately I want this to succeed because you know I don't want to see anybody die or get hurt, but if there are fucking alien critters down there, you know, we're
the generation that can handle it. We can take that. That's real.
Well, I'm really glad that you said that. But you know, we are the generation above all else, before us or after us, that deserves a bone thrown to us.
Yes.
You know, we're painted in society as these lazy, you know, just basically the piece of shit generation, when in reality we're the hardest working, you know, we're not the most mistreated in history, but
getting there.
You know, we're definitely, you know, on par, just not the mistreatment is not the same. It's just different.
Yes, exactly. This is on a more global scale. They've learned how to, impoverish people, I guess is the way to say it.
And other than, you know, slave era families, we're the most subjugated people in American history, you know. You know, and I'm not stealing any thunder away from Native Americans who are still dealing with that, or any of the people who were treated as slaves, the Chinese, the African Americans, the Irish. People don't ever want to talk about the Irish, but
They were whipping boys. Come on now.
they were less than human beings in the mid to late 1800s. So it's just, I've said it. I've went on record on many a podcast whenever we talk about space and aliens, and we as a species need to be united in leaving spaceship Earth and let's manifest destiny some space.
Let's touch another star, man.
Because our species is kind of our species is weighed against the fact that we literally like the fact that we exist is entirely dependent on finite resources of any kind. It's not just fossil fuels, it's not just precious minerals. Like everything that we depend on is a finite resource, and the Earth only has so much of that. It doesn't fucking just poof. There's some more stuff. At this point, oxygen is a fucking finite resource.
Yeah.
So, we need to unify and prioritize getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
And
a plan B or C.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm not delusional to think that it's going to happen in our lifetime because that's not realistic. But if there's some shit down there, if there's alien technology in Area 51, why doesn't Bill Gates, Elon Musk, why don't they fucking have access to it? And they may. There's enough conspiracy theorists out there, especially when you talk about cell phones and how fast
we've evolved that, yeah.
Well, how in the last 20 years, how far our technology has came versus, every other technological leap before that. There's a lot of people that say, well, there's some alien tech there. But I'm also of the mindset and in agreement with Neil deGrasse Tyson that if I was an alien and I pulled up to Earth and saw all the orbiting space junk, that I'd probably just keep driving.
Yeah, I'd be like, no thanks.
Because it's too fucking dangerous. That's why space launches and shit get delayed or canceled all the time, because it's not always the weather. You literally have to plot a course through all of the space junk.
Yeah, you can't hit the junk.
You can't get the junk because it'll fucking blow you up. So, yeah, I when you and I were kind of riffing about this the other day, I was super excited to talk about it because even though I haven't had any, really alien experiences or stuff like that in my life, I have semi been passionate enough about it because you're really naive until I see scientific proof that we are literally the only hyper intelligent organisms in existence, other than octopus or septopods.
Also dolphins.
It's just dolphins and orca whales and but they don't have fucking super technology. They're just really smart. So
fair point.
Until I see proof otherwise, you're naive to think that you're the only one that's unique and special in existence, And I apologize for my super long exposition.
So, I agree with you. I think you would be super naive to believe that, okay, so here's an interesting stat, and I love throwing this out here, that only 20 years ago, okay? We're talking 1998, 1999. 20 years ago was the first time human people were made aware that other stars had planets. 20 years ago. Think about that. So from 20 years ago, we have realized that not only does one star have a planet or an additional solar system, almost every star in the sky has an additional planetary solar system revolving around it. So with the amount of planets, there's like something like 2.75 billion planets. So
that we can see, that we know of.
Exactly, thank you. Invisible space, because there's space beyond what we can even reach right now. And that's another crazy thing to even think about. We could be on the very shallow end of a very deep pool, my friend, and the very deep pool could have some really humongous, crazy, advanced, giant mythological creatures. Who knows? But or it could just be people like us. We really. There's no way to know. There's no way to actually tell what. We've never seen proof. And to go back to the raid and to talk about you saying that we're deserved a bone. It's like, yeah, we are, and you could unite our entire world in a
absolutely
fell fucking swoop. Hey guys, guess what? Your religion, your religion, your religion, your religion, your religion, they're all fucking bullshit. Every one of them. Throw them out the window. We have to unite as a people. And then everyone's like, wait, what? We unite as a people? Religion's horseshit. They really are aliens. Well, if they're aliens, my religion is bullshit, man. What the fuck? And I think that's maybe part of the reason why they are afraid, to be honest, because it would destabilize the religious power that is kind of fell over the world, man. We kind of are all under like some, even if you're not a religious person, you are under the religious hierarchy.
Well, and to add to that, it's not that we have fallen under that; it's that we have always been under it.
Thank you. That is well better said.
Every major civilization in history has been controlled by a religion or a group of religions, and between the big three of Christianity,
Catholicism.
Well, that's part of Christianity.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I gotcha.
Yep. Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. Like, those are the big three. They're all branching, pieces of essentially the same religion, and we don't need to get into that. But, you look at basically every civilization on Earth right now, it is a member of one of the major religions. A lot of the developing nations are either Islamic or they're either Jewish, Islamic, or Christian of some sort, and it's easy to manipulate uneducated people with religion because they're uneducated.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot. This is one of the conversations that I really, if I can speak, really like to have, because if you go, especially if you look at the ancient history of man and you start to delve into the what is the actual phrase, the alien astronaut is what I was looking for, and you look in ancient art and hieroglyphics and imagery, there is this reoccurring theme of beings coming down from the sky. Those are our gods.
Orb
a lot
ships.
of times a lot of times they're painted or they're depicted as a taller being wearing a suit with, not necessarily a helmet, but something similar to that. And, maybe, and I think this is what scares a lot of people is, maybe religion is a legitimate thing. It's just all of these gods that we're talking about, or individual gods, are fucking aliens, and there's a very, very minute minute amount of people that actually have that information,
Yes, and it's like, maybe a race of aliens or several race of aliens found this planet and band together and said, look, we need to send people down to kind of guide these new creatures because they'll tear themselves the fucking apart. Because you look at the fundamentals of religion, I talked about this a couple episodes ago, but if you look at the fundamentals of religion, like in theory, it's a good thing. It gives you guidelines. It tells you not to hurt your fellow man, to be kind or whatever. There are also some crazy things in certain religions, and we don't have to get into that, but like, the aliens saying like these are your guidelines, and their intention is good. They don't realize it when some people turn this to Crucible, it becomes evil, because then it becomes the crusade. It becomes, that whole bit. So
When there's one of my favorite parts of at least the Christian religion is thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, or however it's phrased. You know, if you look at baseline religion, a lot of it is rooted in common sense and survivability. You know, if we're a primitive or very early developing species, and you're the guy that brings all the wood to our community, and I'm the guy that, you know, cooks all the food, if I sleep with your wife, you're probably going to kill me. And then,
Yep, most likely.
And then there's, or vice versa, I kill you, and then there's nobody cutting wood or cooking food. So it's very utilitarian, and I feel like if I was myself and I was interacting with a primitive species for the first time, I would dumb it way down. I mean, you'd have to.
Yeah, absolutely. You would absolutely have to.
And then they build a religion out of it, and then through interpretation after interpretation after interpretation, we get what we've got now.
It's Chinese telephone, bro.
Bam.
Yeah, here we are tangenting, but this is the point of this show, is to be topical, and we're staying within that vein, because I think that religion and aliens kind of do go hand in hand in a lot of ways, and there are a lot of unanswered questions. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a huge Ancient Aliens fan. Like, I fucking
for sure
love that show, Aliens. You know, but like some of the things they bring up, some of the questions they bring up, like honestly, to me, I think it was like episode 1 or 2, but the H blocks. Do you know about the H blocks?
Refresh me.
Okay, so there's an island somewhere off the coast of Africa, and washed up on it are hundreds of these cubed blocks that are carved into the letter H, okay? But not like fully, like they're designed. You look up a picture if you're feeling frisky on it. But they went and used scientific tools on the H blocks on the island, okay? And every single one with a fucking scientific tool was exactly perfectly cut. These are primitive rocks. How can you cut something like that so perfectly, flawlessly, that even modern technology is amazed by how perfect it is?
Was the island Pumapunku?
Yes, Pumapunku.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm glad you found that. But yeah, that's like a great look into like things that don't make any sense. And you look at the pyramids, and sure, maybe those are just interpreted, and that's cool art. Or, you know, the Sphinx is something that's questioned. But then you also look at things like Easter Island, Stonehenge, stuff like that. That's just, even modern technology today, it would take 10 cranes to lift parts of Stonehenge up, how they're lifted.
Have you read any of Graham Hancock's stuff?
I'm not sure. Possibly. I read a lot of shit, so maybe.
Are you familiar with Fingerprints of the Gods or what's the first one? Yeah, Fingerprints of the Gods is the first one, and then the sequel, I will tell you in a moment.
Okay, sure.
So essentially, Graham Hancock writes this book in the late 90s. I think it was, 95.
Sure.
So he goes through all these ancient civilizations, and then they found, they recently found this civilization, which I'll have to look up when I finish reading this. But essentially, like, there's all these patterns from ancient civilization to ancient civilization, and we continue to find more and more, and they're all identical. And historically, these civilizations would have either never interacted or not even had the possibility to interact at any point.
So
whatsoever.
for their symbols to be identical is either like a collective conscience thing, you know, like where we're all in the hive mind or whatever, or a more impossibility that something else was influencing them to make the same shapes.
And that's one of the things that he really that he really kind of focuses on is outside influence and a lot of stuff. Magicians of the Gods is the second one.
Ah, cool.
But definitely check that out. But let me see if I can find this. Oh, it's Göbekli Tepe. Have you heard of that?
No, actually, I have not.
Okay, I'll just read this little word bubble. Göbekli Tepe is an archaeological site in the southeastern Anatolia region of Turkey, approximately 12 or 7 miles northeast of the city of... Can't say that.
I can't say that.
I'll attempt it.
Sure.
Sanlafura?
Okay, it sounds good.
But basically, if you look it up, it's the ruins of a city, and the important part of this is more than 200 pillars in about 20 circles are currently known throughout geophysical surveys. Each pillar, and this is identical, has a height of up to 20 feet and weighs up to 10 tons. They are fitted into sockets that were hewn out of the bedrock. So that's a big deal. You're cutting into the bedrock. In the second phase, belonging to the pre-pottery Neolithic, the erected pillars are smaller and stood in rectangular rooms with floors of polished lime. The site was abandoned after the pre-pottery Neolithic era. Younger structures date to classical times, blah, blah, blah. But the details of the structure's function remains a mystery. It was partially excavated by a German archaeological team under the direction of Schmidt from 1996 until his death in 2014. In 2018, the site was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Nobody has any fucking idea what's going on with this place.
These carvings are fucking insane.
Mm-hmm.
How old did you say they predict this is?
The tell includes 2 phases of use believed to be of a social or ritual nature by site discoverer and excavator Klaus Schmidt, dating back to 10th to 8th millennium BCE. During the first phase belonging to the pre-pottery Neolithic A, circles of massive T-shaped stone pillars were erected, the world's oldest known megaliths. That's what I was trying to get to. I missed it. So, this is essentially the oldest civilization that we've ever discovered, ever.
And it's 8 millennium. That's 1,000 years for you folks who don't know how to count.
8 to 10 millennium, yeah.
So 8 to 10,000 years before Christ's existence.
Mm-hmm.
Before the person who everyone believes is the epicenter of existence existed. Mm-hmm. You've got it wrong, folks. The science proves it, man. They've got the scientific knowledge to... It's crazy how they can figure that shit out, man. But how do you think this civilization comes about? Do you have any kind of... It's just like Göbekli... How did you say it? Göbekli
Tepe.
Göbekli Tepe. I looked it up. I was looking at the pictures while we were talking. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Rogan has had Graham Hancock on his show a couple times, solo and with people that are working with him on these projects. And Graham Hancock is one of the people that, because of his pseudo-archaeology title, has basically been blackballed in the scientific community. He's done, especially in his first book, he talks a lot about the Sphinx and how the Sphinx is actually a lot older than and I'm paraphrasing and don't quote me exactly because it's been years since I've read this book, but he talks about how there's no possible way that even the earliest Egyptian dynasty created the Sphinx. That if you go down, so the Sphinx is if you look at the Sphinx right now, it's basically down in a pit
Yep, because it keeps getting washed out, right?
Yep. So if you look at geologically the layers of material where the Sphinx is, half-ass buried at, each of those layers is like the rings on a tree. It tells how old the ground is.
Yeah.
And, using very simple science, the Sphinx is a hell of a lot older than, like, the Egyptian government will tell you that it is.
I want to say I listened to Graham Hancock, and I feel like he said something like the Sphinx was 20,000 years before Christ.
Roughly, yeah.
That's fucking crazy, dude. That is insane. And then okay, now think about what it would take to now modernly build that same thing. Cranes, massive machines, millions of hours of manpower working around the clock. How did they do it, though? And then that always takes me back to Ancient Aliens. And you know what I almost sometimes like? I don't know if you've seen it or not, but just to stay on Ancient Aliens and keep talking about, different weird historical things. But, like, I love watching Action Bronson and friends watching Ancient Aliens because that shit just is hilarious. They just get high and they just have the green screen on behind them where they put the episode while they're watching the episode and they comment on it and it's fucking hysterical. And it's just them actually watching Ancient Aliens. That's a show about watching a show. It's just like Inception show.
Alienception.
Yes, Alienception. Maybe that's the episode title. But you just look at all the different crazy structures that predate what we have written history on. And just to use your brain, and I mean that, really think about it. How could you build this now? What steps would you take? How long would it take? So then start asking, how would they do that before every kind of technology we have in known existence? Okay? It's either something so advanced that left no trace of itself, or we are so fucking stupid we don't realize there's something that we can unlock in our brains that make us be able to build shit at some incredible fucking rate. Like
Absolutely.
ants or something.
I mean, and that's one of the things that this group of scientists or just enthusiasts really points out. You look at the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Incas, the Olmecs, the Egyptians. You look at all these ancient civilizations, and the pyramid, in any capacity is a theme. And again, take this with a grain of salt and don't quote me word for word, but I'm pretty sure it was either the Aztecs or the Mayas, but a certain city, if you look at how their pyramids are placed from bird's eye view, if you look at how those are placed and you reference it to like certain positions of stars, like the pyramids are placed geometrically, it's perfection.
On
and
the
then
globe, they're exactly globally distant, equidistance from each other in every instance that you find ancient Egyptian, but ancient pyramid temples in other cultures.
Yeah, so they all that's between all of them, but then like all the pyramids in one city will be at exactly the same distance from each other, and they're all proportional and they're all identical. And then you look at something like the Nazca lines, lines in the desert that were created fucking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago, which may or may not be maintained currently because I don't know, but you can only see them from the air. Why would a primitive people make massive images in the desert that you could only see from the air? They're not flying around.
They're trying to get someone's attention.
Or they're trying to impress someone.
Yeah, like, look, come talk to us. We understand. We can find a way to communicate with you. Here's art. You can visualize art, unless you're some sort of non-visualizing creature.
I remember watching an episode of Ancient Aliens while they were focusing on the Nazca lines, and a small group of people believe that area of the desert would have actually been like a runway. So each of the symbols correlates to land right here. It's safe here. And obviously there's thousands upon thousands of theories, but those lines in the dirt, to me, are some of the most intriguing because no one can really justify their existence. I mean, no matter how much research you do, I mean, it's trippy,
Well, check it out. You look at these Nazca lines, man, and you look at all the shapes they've drawn into the sand here, and I've got a picture of all of them in one shot, which is fucking incredible. And you've got, there's a bird, and there's some sort of circle with hands. Maybe it's meatwad. I don't know. You've got a human person, which is very tiny compared to everything else. They made the person very small. But then there's a monkey and a tree and several different bird creatures of sorts. Maybe a pelican. You've got a dog-like creature, possibly a spider. Maybe some sort of dinosaur because it's a long megalodon-looking type thing, and also a kind of a shark-looking alligator type thing that's been drawn in the sand here. And you got to think, those are miles long, tens of miles or hundreds of miles long to make them that size to be seen from space. So, and it's crazy to think that they existed on our planet for so long until finally we got to a point where we could see them. How long did they exist before anybody ever observed them? And how cool would it have been to be the first person to be like, holy shit, what?
Yeah.
But then, of course, here begs another question. With them being so big, could people have made them, or is something else making them? With how large they are. I mean, those are large carved paths over, like I said, tens of miles.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to send you an image.
Sure, send it over, bro.
From my computer, but I don't know how to do it.
Oh, and of course, one of the Nazca lines, which is in a separate location on a rock, is known as the astronaut. Do you know about that one? Mm-hmm. It's got like a fishbowl helmet.
Yeah. I'm trying to send you. Here we go. Yeah, it worked. Okay,
Fuck yeah, spread it.
I sent you a picture in Skype.
Oh, you sent it in Skype. Oh, shit, bro. That's cool. Let me peep this, Jazz. Oh, get the fuck out of here, thing. Wow, I can just pull it up while we're doing this podcast. That's great.
Mm-hmm. So, the spider, 46 meters long. The hummingbird, 50 meters long. The tree, 88. The astronaut, 40. The macaw, 25 meters long. The iguana, 155 meters long.
That's huge. How long is a meter? Just for reference, because I'm not mathing right now for some reason. It's crazy.
Just a minute.
Sure.
Meters to feet. 1 meter is 3.28 feet.
Wow.
So, go back to Skype here.
So these are hundreds of feet long, not miles.
Mm-hmm. Not miles,
My
but
bad.
Still enormous.
Very large and impressive, absolutely.
That's what she said.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I got to get it in there while I can.
That's what she said. Counterpunch. I'm a great counterpuncher.
Okay.
That was awesome.
Now it won't let me. Damn it.
What were you going to do?
Well, I was trying to get back to the image to do some math.
Oh, I don't know how to get to the image after we've closed down to the image. I think you go to the open conversation, bro. Hit open conversation. It's the little, square with 3 lines. Or 2 lines. It's only 2. towards the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, I don't have that option.
Take your
Oh,
mouse.
found it.
Yeah,
Found it.
I say
Found it.
take your mouse down there. You have to take the mouse.
Okay, let's do some math.
Sure.
Okay, the spider's 150 feet. The hummingbird's a little bit bigger than 150 feet. The tree's almost 300 feet. What's the biggest one?
The biggest one, I think,
the heron.
is the heron, yeah, at 285 meters, which would equal like something like 900 feet. Or close to 1,000 feet, actually, if you add on all those little extra feet.
Yeah, 855 feet.
Nice.
So, I mean, these are
huge.
massive images.
That are permanently out there in Peru.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I mean, absolutely insanity, man. So, I wanted to ask you about this too. Also, while we're on the subject of aliens, obviously, and everything, do you know about the Bob Lazar story?
No.
Okay, so he was recently a Joe Rogan guest, and I guess he's got a documentary on Netflix and whatever. But he is a scientist who claims he was recruited to work in a base that had a spaceship that was of alien technology that had a gravity field. And you're like, oh, this story's fucking crazy, you know, whatever, this guy's fucking crazy. But then, everything he's ever said, all the way back to some of his earliest interviews in the early 80s, it's very important to note some of his first interviews were in the early 80s when he was coming out about this, because he went, like, he kind of got fired from it and then just went and told people what was happening, and no one, of course, believed him. But stuff he predicted that existed because of this, like, ship that he had dealt with and was working on and studying the propulsion of, it came to fruition. Like, it came real. Like, back then in the 80s, he's like, and I learned really quickly that gravity is actually a wave. It's not a source. It's a wave it pulls at a certain frequency. And he's explaining how this ship has this fucking gravity force field that they can fucking turn on and you can't touch it. And then, like, it came out in 2016. Gravity is a fucking wave, and you could control it if you could figure out how to harness the wave, right? And then there's this, like, element 115 or 151 or some shit like that. An unused, unknown element. He talks about it several different times. And in, like, 2017, they came out with that exact element and described its place. This guy's story is incredible. He took footage, dude. He took fucking footage in the early 80s of a spaceship flying around. Of course, they say it's bullshit and it's old cam footage, so it's really hard. But, like, he was throwing parties out there and showing people, like, this shit's real. Like, we really have this technology. These aliens really did come to our planet. And I will say the documentary is kind of horse shit. They have this guy who tries to do this, like, slow narration, like Sam Elliott, but it's not really that good. It's like it just misses the mark with me, and it kind of kills the story. But the podcast on Rogan is ultra informative. He dives into a lot of things and stuff, and it's really crazy, man, to think about the fact that people are wrong. They're going to go to Area 51, and that's not even where they keep the alien shit. Like, it's not even the right place. You need to go where Bob Lazar tells you.
One of my favorite memes is, once we get into Area 51 and it's just empty and it ends up being a Chevrolet J.D. Power commercial.
Or a Dollar General.
Or a Dollar General. I really like that one, too.
Oh, those are good. I love all the ones of the people that say they're going to Area 51 to the raid,
Oh, like the celebrities?
Yeah, but I feel like you posted one, quite possibly, that was like Bill Cosby, maybe? Did you post a Bill Cosby one?
Yeah, I shared that earlier.
Sorry, I'm having a little issue with one of my headphones. Oh, there it goes. It was back. It's weird. Strange. Anyways, so earlier in the episode you said something that we didn't even brief on it. You said it, and I literally let it go to the wind because I wanted to save it closer to the later part of our conversation here. Who knows where we're at in this conversation, but I want to make sure not to forget. You said, as far as you can tell, you've never had an alien encounter, seen some weird shit, experienced weird shit. Nothing. Nothing has tickled your fancy. Nothing has blown your mind. Has there ever been any, video footage that's blown your mind? You've been like, what the fuck?
I mean, I've seen a lot of, Air Force footage that has been, either Air Force or commercial aircraft that's been, very, very convincing. And and I can't, from memory, I can't pull up. It was flight 731 at 9 o'clock in the morning. Over,
totally, no worries.
Yeah. But, what I've always had a hard time with is anytime people talk about aliens and they talk about the government's involvement, and it's a massive conspiracy theory always, whatever. But you get some of these Air Force pilots from every generation, their interactions and, their declassified, basically debriefs of their encounter with an object that was traveling, they might be traveling at Mach 2, and this fucking thing just blows right by them. And, that's not normal. And
no, not by any stretch of the imagination.
And not every one of these pilots is just fucking hallucinating from, stress on their body because of G-force, or you always see all these bullshit excuses, and that's one of the things that I've always taken interest in, because there's no way every single one of these people is lying.
Yeah, what purpose does it serve for them all to lie?
It's statistically improbable or highly unlikely that every one of these people is lying the exact same way about the exact same thing.
No, I completely agree with you. I've seen certain videos. One of the earliest videos that captivated me when I was younger was 95 or 96, the 5 lights over Arizona. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
5 slow moving. They just kind of fucking sat there. It doesn't make any sense. You didn't even know what it is, and it's not like they were drones. Maybe they were drones. Fuck, I don't know. Now anything's possible. Back then, you think about it like that. But I have had one in-person experience that I've witnessed something that blew my fucking mind, and I'll talk about that. But then also I've been able to experience what I believe is actual proof, and it's stuff that NASA puts out all the time, and they're so blind to the obvious, and I'm going to talk about that as well. So first, let me get into, real quick, giving you a little bit of backstory. It was I don't know, I was probably 3rd, 4th grade, so I was 9 or 10. My parents had probably just divorced, and had my buddy Lance over to stay the night, and we decided we were going to go to my grandpa's house and borrow a bunch of really fancy tents, and we were going to camp out in my dad's backyard. It was fenced in, it had a pool, it was going to be fucking fun. We were going to make a night of it, just being dudes, being fucking kids. So we were out there hanging out and drinking pop and whatever, and we were looking up at the stars, man, and I'll never fucking forget it. All of a sudden, there are 3 red dots in a triangle. And They went up, down, right, made a swish, and was fucking gone in 1/10 of a second. It was the fucking fastest, craziest thing I've ever seen. And we looked at each other, and we ran inside. We were fucking genuinely, spooked to death. So this is 95, 96. So, we were definitely not in an era where there were drones flying around or some crazy shit like that. It was far enough off in space. And when you think about space, to our eye, miles are this much. This tiny little fraction of a thing when we look up in the sky are miles and miles and miles of space. So the speed and range with which this thing traveled was hundreds of miles in nanoseconds, bro. It was fucking absolutely insane. It shocked me to this day. I'll never forget it. It's palpable. Like I can remember it was like dewy and it was dark and it was probably like 10:30 or 11 and the pool is humming and the backlight is off because I said it's more fun if we just like let the star. It's just dark and it's not all like bright and shit back here. And then that happened, man. It's fucking blew my mind. And I'll never forget that. Was like, I knew for a fact, I was like, there's other shit. We are definitely not the only things that are existing here, not by a long shot,
Have you had any other experiences?
Well, let me explain when I say other experiences. Yeah, I got really fascinated for a long time on multiple levels with watching NASA's live footage from the ISS. Because they stream HD footage constantly from the International Space Station. So you're always seeing, like, them fly over the Earth, and there's always black space behind it, right? Mm-hmm. So obviously you can tell what is a star in the black of space, because as you're moving, it's not going to be moving. It's going to kind of be staying in where it needs to stay in movement to the camera on the ISS. But then you will see, and I swear to God, dude, if you watch it like 10 o'clock at night, 11 or whatever, and you just sit and watch the screen and watch the blackness of space. Don't pay attention to the Earth. Don't pay attention if an astronaut is out there fucking with the camera or doing anything. If you just watch the blackness of space, you will see shit flying around. And there is no question in my mind. And some people would go, Nate, dude, it's just fucking space debris, man. And I'm like, no, because again, the same argument that great distance apart. If you're looking at a far distance away into space, that's hundreds of miles of distance you're seeing in a tiny distance, right? You're observing it from afar, so you're seeing a much larger scope. And these things are shiny and bright. The sun isn't illuminating them, or maybe it is. And they're flying opposite and moving in very intricate patterns. Why is that? It's not because it's space junk just floating out in space. It's moving too fast. It's all moving too fast. It just doesn't add up to me. So the more I started watching those dudes, I like freaked myself out one night because I saw like 10 of them in one sitting. And I was like, what the fuck is up? Like, why is there so much activity over Earth this one particular night, like 2 years ago? And it got me, dude. And I don't watch them all the time, but I love showing other people because once you start looking into space and you see just one, you will get lost just watching for hours. Like, show me another. I want to see another. I want to feel the rush of seeing this weird thing cross the screen in a rapid rate of pace that blows my fucking mind,
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's what I do, and I'm gonna next time we're hanging out, I'm gonna show you because it's fucking radical.
Fuck yeah!
And there's this there's this guy too, Secure Team 10 or some shit like that. He's this like nerdy dude who just like covers alien shit. He's been doing it for a long time on YouTube, so he's got like 1 or 2 million subscribers, And he shows some of the best footage and breaks down like. Here's another thing. Sometimes NASA will be aware if there's something entering the atmosphere that they don't want you to see because miraculously feeds will be interrupted. The feed will cut. It will shut off. All of a sudden, it'll just become a black screen for a solid minute, and then all of a sudden the camera will turn and be looking in towards the spaceship and not out towards space for whatever reason. And those are the other ones that are super obvious. I remember like 4 or 5 years ago, there was a giant spire that came over the horizon on a NASA video. And right as the spire was about to peak and when you were going to see this thing, whatever it was, they cut the feed. And I'm going to try to find a picture of that if I can. NASA feed cut spire. Oh, that's images. Let's see if I can find this for you. Of course, I'm going to have a hard time finding it because it was on a YouTube video. But, and some people are like, oh, people can fake those things, man. I'm like, no, it's from NASA's actual feed. Like, they aren't faking it. They're not going to try to put that out against themselves. That's why they're cutting the feeds.
Right.
Clearly. Man. Yeah, I fucking love aliens, bro.
Have you ever seen the movie The Fourth Kind?
Negative. I've not seen The Fourth Kind.
You need to watch it.
Okay, you know what's crazy? I'm on a tangent just for 30 seconds. Yesterday's episode of Podcast Foos On, I'm listening to you talk. You guys went on a Matthew McConaughey tangent, and a weird thing happened to me. Just 2 days ago, my buddy Anthony suggested we watch a movie called Mud, and you suggested that people watch Mud, and that's crazy because like now I'm pretty sure that tomorrow I'm going to be watching Mud.
It's in my opinion, it's one of McConaughey's best performances.
Nice.
It's a great movie. Very underappreciated.
Hell yeah. We'll get back to it. What's The Fourth Kind about, my man?
So, The Fourth Kind came out 2009, and, it didn't get received very well. But basically what The Fourth Kind is, are you familiar with the name J. Allen Hynek?
Negative.
Or Hynek?
I don't think so.
He basically did the classification of Close Encounters with Aliens. So, Close Encounter of the First Kind is whatever. The Close Encounter of the Second Kind is whatever. The Third Kind is whatever. The Fourth Kind is physical contact or alien abductions. So they did this movie. Mila Jovovich plays the main character. It's kind of like a pseudo documentary. So there's some footage that's shot like third person. There's some footage that's shot like documentary style. But basically this woman is being interviewed 2 years after a bunch of abductions happened in Nome, Alaska. And she is like a psychiatrist, and she uses hypnosis to get memories out of people who have been suspectedly abducted. And one of her husband, and then, throughout the movie, she figures out that she is also one of those people that has been abducted, and it fucks her up real bad. But, this kind of a movie is, you would like to say, okay, well, it's a documentary, it's based on fact. It's a science fiction movie, so it's a little bit wonky. But not only is this one of my favorite, horror thriller movies ever, but this is the kind of movie that we don't get enough of to pique people's interest back in aliens. We go through, phases in the media where, right now we're talking about Area 51. Everyone is fucking involved in it. And then we'll go through phases where no one gives a shit, I strongly urge anyone that is into, science fiction of any kind, thrillers of any kind, go into this movie with an open mind and just enjoy it, because it is trippy as shit.
Man, okay, I'll counter your science fiction-y movie, which was called The Fourth Kind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to be checking that out. I'm going to counter your science fiction-y movie with a science fiction-y movie I just recently watched. It's not about aliens, but it is about upgraded technology in the future. The movie is called Upgrade.
Okay.
Do you know anything about this movie?
I mean, I remember seeing the trailer for it.
So this guy, he and his wife having a lovely life. They're in this advanced future, driving their car. They wreck the car. Well, the car wrecks itself. She gets killed. He gets shot in the back of the neck, becomes a quadriplegic. His buddy's like, hey, man, I got this thing called STEM. It'll help you to be better. They implanted in this quadriplegic's neck, and then he starts walking again, and then he starts getting advanced. And then STEM starts talking to him. And then he starts trying to figure out who killed his wife. And then the mystery unfolds. And it does all these twists and things you don't expect. But, what do you think's going to come first? A utopian future, or will we have proof of alien life? Do you think we're going to get to a point where we've got flying cars and fucking robots are all the workforce, and we're just people that get to occupy this planet, or are we going to see aliens first?
I'm a big fan of Tyson's opinion of flying cars are never going to be reality, because cool. I mean, if you think about it right now, you're driving a vehicle of any kind, you're constrained by the rules of the road. Anyone that lives in LA or Chicago complains about traffic, and it's yeah, if I had a flying car, there wouldn't be any traffic. Well, it's just not going to be chaos.
Well, no, all the traffic would go up.
Yeah, and then it would be even worse.
Maybe.
You know?
Because maybe you can utilize, aerospace and more, have people stacked on top of each other and not necessarily just one path that you've only got X amount of cars that can go down. You can't stack the highway 6 high.
But one path, people's emotions and road rage and everything is contained. If you and I are in flying cars and you won't get the fuck out of my way, and I go around you, I'm crashing into cars in the sky, and then we're crashing into cars on the ground.
Nope, because the autopilot's going to kick in and force you to stay in your lane. It's already built, man. I mean, they're already testing the waters for this. The thing that's difficult is going to be propulsion. Ultimately, if they can figure out propulsion and how to get it off the ground without there being a large amount of heat source between the vehicle and the ground, once that's solved, they'll have flying cars, no question. Will we ever have flying cars? Maybe not. But will it exist
I don't
on
think
this?
so.
If this planet can survive another 50 years, possible. I think it's possible.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think to modify your question a little bit, are we going to have proof of alien existence in our lifetime? Maybe. Are we also going to have proof that alien life does not exist? I think that is equally as possible. Intelligent. Okay, let me rephrase that again. Intelligent alien life.
So
Because
what do you mean by that? Because I think that if any alien life at all contacts us, that signifies intelligence.
Right. But right now there's proof that bacteria lives on Mars.
True.
That's alien life. Those are single-celled organisms.
Yeah, I know that.
Bebopping around up on the red planet.
And they live, and they've acclimated to their environment, much like the dogs and cats that live in Chernobyl, that just live there and chill. They're radioactive as fuck, and they can do it. I don't understand it, but they can.
Yep.
Some weird shit.
So, I don't know. It kind of goes back to my big opening statement of if we're going to get the information, whether they exist or whether they don't exist, I just want to know in my lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree with
I mean,
you.
if there is proof that there, at least in our solar system or the very close surrounding solar system, because that's one of the things we didn't touch on when we were talking about just space at the beginning of the show. We discover new exoplanets almost on the daily at this point.
Oh, yeah, it happens all the time.
We discover a star with an exoplanet in the perfect orbit at the perfect time. And obviously, people forget that every time we look at an image of space, if it's a star or whatever, we're looking at the past.
Yes. Oh, my God. I'm so glad you brought that point up because we just witnessed something in history happen. Something that exploded like 500,000 years ago, which was, I think, 2 black holes or something, or a supernova, something happened that they just caught in space. And it's like, happened 500,000 years ago in the past. But the light source has finally just gotten here. That's a long distance in space, bro.
So when we're looking at, let's say, exoplanet X191,
Gallifrey.
through the Hubble telescope, and we're looking at its star, like all of that is in the past. So, say on that planet that there's an advanced, or at least a civilization that's on par with us. We're looking at them in the past. So, just through modern science, a civilization as advanced as ours ultimately is doomed because of itself. That's just that's one of the I'm at a loss for words. That's one of the big
pitfalls,
I guess,
downsides.
Yeah, the downsides of being an advanced civilization, because you are either so advanced that you destroy yourself, or you are so advanced that you have transcended what we are right now. You no longer need it, so there's no need to explore and colonize because you've already transcended past that.
you're beyond it, living in the next plane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask an interesting question, spiraling out of all this. Of all the different, I think that I had a funny thought. If aliens did come down to Earth, okay, let's say like my buddy Carl just drops down, spaceship Carl. He's fucking parks in my parking driveway, walks up to my house, rings the doorbell. Okay, so you envision Mars attacks, and that's exactly what I'm gonna bring up. Is like he walks in. I'm like, hey, Carl, what's up, bro? How's it going? Long travels? And he's like, I'm like, oh, cool, man. That was crazy. I don't know what the fuck you just said. And he walks over to my movie shelf, and he starts looking at the movies. And all these movies are about aliens being bad guys. He's going to get fucking offended. He's going to get super offended. He's going to be like, what the fuck is this? Or he's probably actually going to be like, more, ow. And then... I'm gonna be like, Carl, I don't know what the fuck you're saying, bro.
You're stereotyping, Nate.
I know, I'm awful.
It's 2019. You can't do that, bro.
I can't do alien speak.
Nope.
Porcelain. You got it.
Oh shit.
Shirley Boo. I don't
Egg
know.
McMuffin.
Oh man, but like, I wanted to ask that question, though, and you kind of answered it without me even asking, is, like, visually speaking, though, what do you think is the closest representation of what we might find out there? If intelligent life in a bodily form exists and it's going to interact with a human, and humankind is going to bridge the gap and move forward into being a more a civilization like level 3 where we can travel interplanetarily because we have world peace. What do you think these fuckers are going to look like?
Man, I don't know. It's tough because, like, scientifically, like, our species only, like, legitimately, our only kind of ace in the hole that we have is how adaptable we are.
Oh, I thought it was how big our dicks are.
No, because I have no ace in the hole there. But like that, like legitimately, our claim to fame. That's what I was trying to say. Our only claim to fame is how adaptable we are. We can adapt to almost any environment through evolution and time and ingenuity and whatever. Like, our species can overcome just about any challenge that we face in small groups. Big groups, we can't do that at all. We're fucking destined to fail. But, like, we are not evolved to... We're evolved to adapt, but not really to do what we need to do to get into space. Like, perfect example is, like, you take Nate Phillips. I'm the hand from Super Smash Bros. The glove.
Sure, yeah, I got you, totally.
I pick you up by the shirt collar right now, and I take you right out into the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and I just drop you. You're fucked.
Maybe not.
Like, I'm talking 100% in the middle of the Pacific. No islands.
Okay, I got you. Yeah,
no
I'm
nothing.
Fucked. I'm totally...
You're fucked.
Unless I get a miracle boat that's showing up, I can't swim for hundreds of miles. My body just will die. I'll just drown.
Well, and you cannot survive underwater.
Fact.
Our bodies have evolved to be 100% attached to the land. Okay?
Maybe I'll cut gills into my throat.
Maybe. Let's bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
Unsure. I just put blood in the water. Great.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Let me just freeze up and pretend I'm dead. The shark will go away.
Totally.
But we are not. We are totally out of our element in the water, and scientifically, we know more about space than we know about the ocean. So, if you can draw the parallels, the ocean is what we really need to be using to figure out how we're going to get into space and how we're whether we're going to modify our bodies somehow to be even more adaptable to the conditions, because like Tyson puts it perfectly, and I hate to keep referencing him, but like he's the man.
He's the fucking man.
He is the man. So if you go into space right now and you're floating around in your spacesuit, you take your helmet off. Before you take your helmet off, you hold your breath. You're not just going to instantly freeze. Like that's movie science or special effects. You will not instantaneously freeze.
Nope.
Space has to take the heat radiating away from your body to, death levels to kill you. So you're going to survive for as long as you can hold your breath. And then when you go to take a breath, you're not going to instantly die. You're going to suffocate slowly like you would anywhere else.
Yep. And it's going to be absolutely brutal.
Yeah, it's going to be awful. So until we find a way not only to, travel and explore, beyond the moon, we're at an extreme disadvantage there technologically. Physically, we're also we can't do anything in space at all except float around. Unless we have technology to propel us around, which goes back to my first point. So if you're a species, I'm sorry this is so long-winded, but
no, don't. I'm glad you're talking it up.
If you're a species that has figured out not only interplanetary or extraplanetary travel, whichever adjective or prefix that is supposed to be,
I think
you
it's,
have figured it'd be extra. Yeah. If you're a civilization or a species or an alien, let's just say alien. If you're an alien that's figured that out, you also have to have technology to make you worth a damn in space.
Yes, absolutely.
Because you're going to be spending a pretty good amount of time in space, unless you figured out instantaneous travel somehow, which is goes even that much further.
Man, I think that that could be possible. Go ahead, continue.
So we are, and I'm going to apologize to anyone listening again. I'm sorry this is so long-winded, but it's very complex and it's hard to articulate. We are evolved from primates who were climbing in the trees and running on the ground and all that shit. What if the aliens that come to Earth are totally from a planet that's nothing but ocean?
Oh, fuck. I never thought about that. If they don't even want to deal with land dwelling.
And that's part of the reason why I brought up the dropping us in the ocean thing. They would have to have technology to make them
adapt to us.
Yes, thank you. So I don't know. In science fiction, we always, we Star Trek it. These are beautiful blue-skinned aliens or green-skinned alien, and they're bipedal. They have 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 hands. They have opposable thumbs. There was a theory that went around a couple years ago, and I don't know how much truth to that statement is, that octopus and other squid, nautilus, cuttlefish, all those that's
deep sea creatures.
Sure, but that are all of that variety that don't have a skeleton, multiple arms, tentacles, the whole shebang, massive brains. Octopus have massive brains. They're one of the most intelligent creatures on the planet. They're
Absolutely.
They're almost on par with us.
If they could figure out how to walk and build their own shit, we'd be fucked.
There was a theory going around a couple years ago that at the dawn of time, let's paint it that way, that they were actually, let's say, alien bacteria that made it to Earth that then evolved separately from us.
Oh, that's fucking sweet.
So they were single-celled organisms from somewhere else. We were single-celled organisms from here. We evolved in tandem but separately down different tracks. I mean, if let's say aliens crash land on Earth right now and they're all octopus people, it's going to be tough because you're going to have the language barrier, you're going to have the barrier of physicality, you're going to have the barrier or the barrier of literally everything. And then Tyson, I'm going to quote him again. He brings up the Christopher Columbus mentality. If you're an advanced species, what incentive do you have? If you are that advanced to come here, what advantage or what incentive do you have to come here other than, hey, they got some shit that we need, bro. Let's go take it. Because that's what we have done historically to every other civilization in history.
I have a thought. And it's going to be what could unite our entire world. Hear me out. So we know it's real. We know it's factual. We're not fucking idiots. Climate change is happening to our country and to our world. And things are bad. And they've said, maybe 10 to 12 years, man, realistically. And shit could get real bad real fast. Like apocalyptic level, fucking live now while you can, motherfuckers, right?
Right.
So let's say we get into that window where there's only 2 or 3 years left, they think. And that it's toast, and our planet's fucked and we can't terraform it. We can't fix what we've done. What if there is a species out there, though, that has been observing us and saying, like, we can't get involved, and they see, like, they're all going to die. They're all going to fucking die. And someone comes down and is like, whoa, we can help you. We've got this technology. We can re-terraform your planet, make it better. They are, obviously futuristic beings. It would then, every single fucking person would be like, we almost fucking died if it weren't for aliens. And then guess what, man? A new religion is born. The alien religion. And everybody's buying into that shit. And do you know why? Because we all fucking saw it. It actually happened, That's what I'm saying.
The only problem with that, and I've thought about that too, and a lot of people have, is it's highly unlikely. Because let's say that let's look at the other side of the coin of that scenario. There's a highly advanced alien species observing us. They're going to use us as a science experiment. They're going to see if we can figure it out on our own.
Ah, see, that's a way to look at it too that I wouldn't have thought of.
I think that's just the other side of the coin. Obviously it's not cut and dry. It's not.
It comes down to a battle of morality, actually.
Yep.
And
but
if
historically, if a species comes down and is like, "Hey, bro, we'll help you out," we're not going to take that very well at first.
Pride.
Well, it's not even that. It's just, you brought up a second ago, like, what's it going to take to unite our species? I thought that, especially with all the research that's coming out and blah, 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 that catastrophic climate change would be the thing to do it. I think we're going to wait until the last minute, and then it's going to be too late. But war is really the only thing that unites our species, but also divides our species. So if some aliens come here to fuck us up, we're going to band together, then we're going to take their shit, then we're going to get off of this planet. If that doesn't happen, it's not going to happen. I don't think. That's a little bit nihilistic to kind of think about it that way. But it's tough, because when you get into these discussions, it's not just throwing one thing at the wall and seeing if it sticks. It's throwing a whole handful of shit at the wall and seeing if 1 out of 100 things sticks.
It's kind of like it's almost like what the Hulk says in Endgame. We're dealing with time travel here. Either all of it's a joke or none of it is. Like either there really are advanced beings out there that could choose to help us or not help us, or there's not. And we're just, this is it, man. And this is our existence, and this has been our experience, and that's, it's been great. I've been having fun. I get to do this podcasting thing. We've left some captain's logs for another advanced bleak system to hear someday and be like, yeah.
Big Mac.
Big Mac?
Yeah, like I don't think you heard me earlier, but you were doing your glip glorp stuff, and I just laid in there real subtle Egg McMuffin. Like I just picture like an advanced civilization like trying to figure us out, and like the only word of English or the only like English phrase that they know is Egg McMuffin. Big Mac. It's all McDonald's. It's all like menu items from a McDonald's.
Oh my God, that would be funny. They're calling our planet. They're like, McDonald's. It's McDonald's? And then they're looking at the trees and they're like, hash browns. Hash browns.
Fuck yeah. I don't know. The more you talk about it, like the more horrifying it becomes, because like say aliens do come and they're peaceful. Like they are a pacifist society. They want nothing to do with war or conflict. They just want to, they're hippie aliens, okay? They just want to spread peace and love, except with 2 fingers, it's like 4. Like, this is their peace sign,
They got much cooler weed in space, too, I think.
They got the dopest fucking weed in all of the solar system. Like,
that's amazing.
Like, when you fucking... You take one fucking rip off of an alien bong and you literally hibernate like a grizzly bear.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like a hyperbolic time chamber, but I'm awake.
Fucking sign me up, dude.
Oh my God,
sign me up.
There. Or like you hit it and then you travel interplanetarily, like that's their traveling system.
Fuck yeah.
Right? Because it's all in your mind, it just takes you to this new, you're like, whoa, how am I here? And they're like, yeah, I know, it's fucking cool, right?
They're like aliens come and they're fascinated with tie-dye t-shirts.
Yes, they've never seen anything cooler than a tie-dyed t-shirt. But no, I think I know what you're about to I'm just gonna volley this because I know you. We aren't those people. We would not be peaceful. Even if they were 100% peaceful, it would be capture this thing, try to fucking poke and prod it, see what it's about. Why
Take
is
their
it here?
shit.
Take their shit, learn from their shit, reverse engineer their shit so we can use their shit.
It's terrifying too because it kind of goes back to what I was pointing out about civilizations interacting that had never interacted before. When the European peoples started interacting with the native peoples of North America and South America, like, we brought a shit ton of fucking diseases that they had never experienced before. Who's to say that, a species totally devoid of disease comes down and we all just don't fucking die?
Oh, shit.
Just from disease.
Or vice versa. They die from our, environment.
Yep. Shit, something simple, too, like the common cold wipes out their fucking civilization.
What was that movie, War of the Worlds? Common Cold? Yeah.
Yep.
Nicolas Cage, right?
No, that was Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, yes! Oh my God, yes it was. I have another question, and it was just on the tip of my tongue, and I fucking lost it. It was a goodie, too. Oh, man.
Rewind. Bring it back.
I'm trying to... Okay, so you talk about us wiping them out, them wiping us out accidentally. Not even by meaning to. But then my question is this is gonna totally divert 360. But like, what if the aliens were dealing with our future us's?
That's a pretty popular theory, especially here lately.
I mean, and that we, at some point, maybe not in Tyler and Nate's life, but maybe, who knows? Fuck, I don't know. Elon Musk is fucking crazy in advance. He's got all kinds of crazy shit in his head he wants to accomplish,
I might be an alien right now.
Totally, we both are aliens of some sort. Don't say that now. ICE might knock on your door.
That's right.
But I just think about it, and I don't know, man. My brain it's very full with like the why would we come back to ourselves? That's the only part of the bubble that I'm not. Because here, look, this is why I say I'm having a hard time discerning why that would be really a good theory. Like, because I say it.
I've got a good one.
Okay.
2 parts.
Sure.
1, to see where you came from.
Okay.
To see your origins, to fully appreciate where you're at right now.
Okay, but why would they come to 2019?
Because maybe right now is the catalyst for who they became, or for who we become.
Oh, shit, bro. That's deep as fuck.
Or, reverse what you said, and we are the future of what they are.
Oh, man, that's deep as fuck, too. You're breaking my brain holes there. I don't know. My brain's like this, though. You know, we were talking about it earlier with climate change coming and the possible destruction of our planet. Like, that's a real... Like, people don't think that we're just joking and saying that is some sort of, like, rib. That's very possible. We are in a very, very finite window right now where the people who have the power need to make the right decisions. But, you know, if we don't survive this, how can there be a future us to come back to us? You know what I'm saying? That's the incompatibility with that one. But, like, I love it because you would want to see your origin, but I think history tells us you want to go as far back as possible because nothing has been recorded in ancient times, or at least not in a way we understand. There's not a base text that we can just read and say, oh my God, this is their story. Like, holy fuck, the people who fucking made those ancient lines, like, this is why they did it. This is an explanation, you know?
Right.
You would want to go even so much further back than that, though, to the start of it, to the genesis of the planet and everything. And then, you know, so I don't know, man. Aliens as a whole, when you think about them, there are so many avenues. There's so many what ifs, intangibles, you know. If they are advanced, do they have advanced weaponry? Are they even carrying weapons? Is that a thing they do? Do aliens need weapons? What if they just, their weapons, their mind, you know? Or they're super fucking fast and have, like, superhero reflexes or some shit, you know? Mm-hmm. Or what if that's the future, man? What if those are the aliens, or like superhumans, metas, if you will, you know? And that they're somewhere in space, there are versions of humans that actually do have superpowers, you know? Like, I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like I can't wait for September 20th to get here. I really want to know how the raid goes, if it goes. Like, I feel like we're in a countdown now. Like, will the U.S. government come out and be like, okay, fucking fine, we don't want to even be responsible for killing like 300,000 American citizens at least. So let's just keep it real. We do have secrets. We can't tell you all the secrets, but we will say, yes, there are aliens. Here's the proof. Don't come to the raid or we'll fucking shoot you. And then that's where they leave it. Like, that would be incredible. Our generation fucking forced their hand. You mother... But of course, and you and I have said it and seen it and memed it and talked about it. It'd be really cool if we all banded together to do something a whole lot more prominent than raid a fucking Area 51.
Right.
How about we universally all agree to stop paying our taxes and force the government's hand? How about we all universally agree to fucking help our fellow man in any means necessary and not let the government break bonds between your color of skin or your fucking ethnicity or your creed or what your sexual orientation is or if you're a fucking robot, you know? Like, that's the power. That's what we need, is to remember that we do have the power. Mm-hmm. There are more of us than there are people in control, and if we all can band together for an actual cause, something that's life-changing, man, we can take this planet back and have something that's totally unique, you know, and maybe
Absolutely.
have a fresh start.
A new beginning.
Absolutely, man. Is there anything else you want to add on this one, man? We're kind of out here in space. We've dove kind of deep. We're kind of all over the map on this one.
I mean, just, you know, I've said it for a long time on Podcastrophe. Anything that spews out of my mouth, take it with a grain of salt. Form your own opinion. You know, we're all Americans, at least on this network in 2019. We all have strong opinions and strong ideals, and you know, I think we do a pretty good job of kind of vetting our information, but we can't be held responsible or remember everything exactly. Form your own opinion.
Go do your own research.
Yeah.
You've heard us talking today about some of this shit. Like, go put it into Google, see what we were seeing, figure out, you know.
Especially, too, you know, if I misspoke about something, you know, politely hit us up on some of our social media and be like, hey, you know, I think this is what you meant to say, but I really dug the show, you know. I mean, just, like, let's brainstorm collectively instead of what a bunch of fucking idiots, you know,
always
they said all
trying
this
to
shit
tear
wrong.
down each other. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think people are just, I think there are people that, and I'm not one of these people. I'm not inherently someone who enjoys being mean as a way to get myself off. And I don't even mean like sexually, but I mean there are people who thrive on drama, or they thrive on being the center of a negative situation. Even if they don't necessarily plan to put themselves there, they always seem to find themselves there, and it's thrilling. It's exhilarating to them, you know? And I, like I was saying earlier about all of us banding together for something more prominent than storming Area 51 to find out if aliens really exist or not. We need
Clap them cheeks.
We need real change. There are 7 billion of us on this planet, man, and if we all 7 billion banded together minus the fucking people in power and said, hey, like, fuck you. We're not doing it this way anymore. There's a better way to live. We can all be cool with each other. We can all see things from our own perspective and not shit on each other's lawns because of that, you know, and you know, and not use division as a method to control, because that's what they're doing. Divide and conquer is a real tactic, bro. I've learned it since I was a kid. What do you see in our nation? Division, divide, conquer. Divide the masses, conquer the masses.
And control the masses.
Exactly. So if we all band together and fucking get on the same page and understand, I don't care about your color. I don't care about what's in between your legs or, you know, what's under your shirt. Like, none of that stuff matters to me. And if we all are on that page and recognize that we are all one species, like there are all kinds of sharks, we are all human. It doesn't matter what color you are. There's variations of sharks. There's big sharks, there's little sharks, there's white sharks, blue sharks, tiger sharks, hammerhead
fucking
sharks.
Tiger sharks, bro.
Street sharks.
Street sharks!
Hell yeah. Heritage. But if we all just recognize, hey, Merca, see, look at you repping the heritage again. Last couple podcasts we've done, you've been repping that heritage. But no, man, seriously, if we all just band together and recognize, you know, that we can overcome, we can maybe become a civilization that is more likely to be met with some sort. Maybe the aliens don't want to fuck with us because we are not a peaceful fucking people. They look down here and they're like, man, they have sports and sports are fun. But then they have people that play like the most extreme sports where lives are actually on the line and it's over nothing. A dick measuring contest, if you will. My bombs are bigger, bitch. And aliens look down, they're like, I'm not going to those fucking dumb that's stupid. Why they're sitting there blowing each other up? I don't understand it.
Preach it.
Aliens are gonna fucking run away. Run like greased lightning out the fucking door and say no thank you and zoom past our planet, man. You know what? I honestly, here's what I would do if I was an alien. I've decided I want to make contact with Earth. I'm not quite sure how to do it, okay? Now, you said something that very, very prominently stuck out. You said we're not peaceful, you know, and that we would fucking possibly hurt them or they could hurt us or whatever. So what if, because we're nearing this exploration, I feel like next year they're sending the astronauts to Mars, right? Is that the start of the exploration to Mars? Because 2024 is supposed to be when they land, and it's like a 4-year flight.
I think think 2021.
21.
is when they're
Okay.
because it's like 3 years, 3 months, and some change to Mars.
Okay. So you've got a little better handle on it than I do. But anyways, I digress. So let's say they send a total of a crew of 10. Okay? You know one thing that none of those crew of 10 are going to have on them?
Guns.
A weapon of any kind, right? Maybe a
Or
knife.
maybe they will because of the Space Force.
Jesus Christ. Let's hope not. But the dumbest shit I've ever heard. We could totally tangent to that next too. But you've got 10 crewmen and women on Mars. They're isolated from the rest of the planet, you know?
They're never coming back.
You don't think they're coming back? You don't think they got a plan to bring them home?
Mm-mm.
You haven't seen The Martian?
No, I haven't, but I don't think they will.
Wait, time out. Back up. You have not seen The fucking Martian?
No, I've read the book.
Have you seen Interstellar?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I saw Interstellar in IMAX, bro. Don't come at me that way.
fuck yeah, okay, Interstellar's awesome, but let me tell you, it's my humble opinion that Interstellar and The Martian are like a story that build from the same thing, and The Martian is like a prequel to Interstellar. Because Mark Watney goes onto the moon, or onto Mars, gets trapped, you know, has to grow potatoes from his own shit in the soil of Mars, and, you know, survive for a long time. So he's learned how to survive alone on a planet, away from everyone else. So then you get to Interstellar, and Matt Damon, same character, has been, what? Isolated on a planet which he knows how to survive on by himself, where they're trying to see if it's going to be good. Obviously, on this planet, for every hour they're on the planet, 7 years passes on Earth. You know, that blew my fucking mind when I watched Interstellar. But, like, seriously, Matt Damon's character is, like, one and the same. And you can just envision Mark Watney from The Martian once you watch that film, and probably from reading the book. You can just watch him morph into the character that he becomes in Interstellar. He's gone crazy. He's been trapped on 2 planets for a long time by himself, you know? Mm-hmm. But, no, man, I think that it would be a good time for the aliens to come down and be like, look, we have you 10 here, and we're speaking to you exclusively. We know you are not armed. These are our intentions. This is what we aim to do with the planet. You know, we need you to speak to your leaders and let them know. But we can't go to that planet yet until we have assurances that y'all aren't going to fucking murder us. Because we have seen how violent your planet is. You know, and if that were to happen, man, huge global peace, whoosh, across the board. Everybody's going to be like, oh, fuck. We had to negotiate to get aliens on our planet when we were on Mars. Fuck yes.
Right.
And
yeah, maybe not at first, but definitely quickly, for sure.
within like the first 2 years of them being over there.
Mm-hmm.
Which, man, that's going to be crazy if they actually colonize Mars and, like, start building shit that they have livable and sustainable abilities for, you know? You obviously make everything solar-powered, so you always have power that can never be cut. You know, you make all your fucking buildings have pressure vac entrances and exits to ensure that you're always, you know, not being crushed by the vacuum of space.
Everyone has to grow food.
Everyone has to grow their own food, or at least have guides to how to grow food. You know, and you can obviously, maybe there's like a basic commissary where, you know, they grow extra in case somebody maybe doesn't have good luck with their tomatoes. You can go pick out a tomato for yourself because your tomatoes are shitty, you know,
right.
or whatever. But I don't know, colonizing Mars, it could be a good plan. I just don't know if us jumping over there and thinking that's our best save to avoid disaster on Earth is good, because then we're on a desolate planet we have to re-terraform. That's a whole ridiculous process that could take hundreds of years.
Right.
And honestly, our planet doesn't have that kind of time, bro. So... anyways, man, I don't think I have anything else to really add right now. I've kind of exhausted my brain in all different directions without going too far off the deep end. Is there anything else that you want to add before we officially wrap this one?
No, I feel like we've had a good chat about aliens and
Aliens.
I mean, we really touched on a menagerie of topics.
Yeah, within aliens, all touching. Yeah, it was actually really fun to do that and look at. I mean, and there are other facets we haven't even, like astrobiologists and people that study how planets are doing different crazy things at a microbiological level, like you were talking about and stuff, and what that means.
Maybe we'll do a part 2 for this show.
Hey man, I'm all about that. This has definitely been a great conversation. Maybe we can pull up some videos and have some footage to discuss next time and really go over something. I think this was a great first touch on aliens. It's been my first real dive into doing this on a podcast. I've always said, like, I really want to do a podcast about aliens, but I did the hands then. I hope you, when you were listening.
I appreciated it.
When I'm just hoping, though, the listener was like, aliens, and they saw me with that, that like kind of lost stare that guy has.
You need to do that haircut.
I don't know if I could rock that haircut. That haircut's pretty, like, redonkulous. Like, it's kind of like a super mullet of sorts.
Yeah.
A mullet hawk.
It's like the Pauly D blowout, but on fucking roids.
Yes, absolutely. Giorgio, or whatever his name is, Georgius, or I can't think of that guy's name. His last name starts with a K, but I can never say it. But before we get out of here, folks, as always, you can check out The Voice of Survival every other Friday on the Journey into Comics Network, now opposite the OGs, which is my new show with the original Journey into Comics co-host Brandon Stone. Make sure to check that out. Next week, episode 2 is A Labor of Love, and I can't wait for you all to listen to it. But you can check out Voice Survival and all the other shows on the Journey into Comics Network at journeyintocomics.com. Get us on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, Spotify, CastBox, TuneIn, and many others. Just search Journey into Comics Network. Also go to patreon.com/Journey into Comics. Give us $1 for early access, exclusive content. There's a wide array of stuff you can give us dinero for. Every dollar helps. Every penny that you give us is saved away for us to do some special things with at some point. Like pay network dues to Brando, who has the site domain. I need to remember to do that. Yet again, it gets brought to the limelight. But I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of The Voice of Survival. This has been Season 2, Episode 14. Tyler, thank you so much, man, for joining me. It was an absolute blast.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime we're going to do this. We have some other plans for this show. It's morphing, and we're going to be doing some cool stuff with that. But if that's going to do it for this week's episode of The Voice of Survival, it's me, The Voice of Survival, Nate, and I will see you guys later.